Thank you for being here today. Thank you, Mari, for your time and for introducing me. There's music that we can't take out of our heads, and there's music that changes our thinking. My name is Alejandra, and this is NeighBRONXhood. Growing up in Veracruz, Mexico, I was always aware of social issues, political regimes, and violence that deeply wounded my country. I have always been driven to confront social injustices, urging my family to join me in protest, who have always encouraged me to raise my voice. And I soon realized that despite the violence and injustices, music brought my people together. We would gather to sing, dance, and celebrate in the public square in Córdoba, Veracruz. This was when my passion for music with a message started. Artists like Bob Marley, with his messages of inclusion and unity. Songs like Rebelión by Colombian salsero Joe Arroyo, telling the story of a time long past, but a present that somehow remained. Bad Bunny and Residentes' call to action to Boricuas against their government in verano de 2019. And going all the way back to La Bamba, a song from my home state that carries within echoes of African roots and Arab diaspora, mixed with indigenous Mexican rhythms, celebrating diversity and resilience. All of this brought me to discover a new genre, hip-hop, and I became passionate about its powerful call to action lyrics. I started listening to artists like Tupac Shakur, who shared his Black heritage with the people, and Public Enemy's calls to fight the power. But we cannot talk about hip-hop without mentioning The Message by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, South Bronx native themselves. This particular song was one of the first songs that provided social commentary and described the stress of living in the inner city's poverty. This is hip-hop activism, but let's get down to the deep roots of the history of this genre. Hip-hop was born in the mid-60s, immediately after the creation of the massive piece of infrastructure. Constructed in the mid-50s by Robert Moses, the Cross Bronx Expressway prioritized private transportation over public infrastructure, which favored wealthy Americans. To some, the construction of the Cross Bronx Expressway symbolized progress and modernity, but not to the residents of the Bronx. Right from the beginning of its construction, the Cross Bronx Expressway caused immediate social, environmental, and economic challenges. It divided the borough in half, bringing separation, displacement, destruction into the Bronx. And despite numerous complaints and issues with the project, Robert Moses simply went on, muting the voices of the residents of the Bronx. The aftermath? Decades of health problems, causing, according to American Lung Association, the highest rates of child asthma. 20 years after its construction, we witnessed the birth of hip-hop, a movement that gave the people a platform to amplify their voices. Hip-hop brought together what was once separated by the Cross Bronx Expressway. It all began in summer of '73, when a back-to-school party took place in 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. Fittingly enough, DJ Kool Herc unknowingly threw the first ever hip-hop jam in the perfect location, right at the intersection of the I-95 and the beginning of the Cross Bronx Expressway. Fast forward 50 years later, after that very first party, the health concerns, the economic disparities, and the social challenges caused by the Cross Bronx Expressway not only remain, but have been exacerbated. And as a consequence of these disparities, a project that means to cap the Cross Bronx has emerged, led by prominent community organizer, environmental activist, and Bronx native himself, Neil Camartel. The project to cap the Cross Bronx Expressway involves building parks and green spaces over the approximately 2.5 miles of the expressway that run below ground, which would not only create a continuous surface, but will help reduce air pollution, noise, and reconnect communities divided by the Cross Bronx. Despite the efforts of the Department of Transportation and New York City Planning to hold meetings aimed at collecting community feedback for this project, the recurring challenges have not only been the lack of participation from the community, but also the lack of diverse representation. as it is the same individuals constantly attending these meetings, failing to reflect the rich cultural tapestry that characterizes the Bronx community. Which led me to wonder, whose voices weren't we listening to? If this is a long-term project, why weren't we building trust, raising awareness, and opening brave spaces for the younger generation? Why weren't we amplifying the voices of younger Bronxites? So this is a project about the Bronx, its culture, and its people. NeighBRONXhood is a combination of all of these things. It's a community-driven initiative celebrating the vibrant native hip-hop scene of the Bronx and inspired by environmental challenges and inequities. It is by using art and hip-hop as a vehicle to amplify people's voices and increase young civic engagement. So by collaborating with Bronx-based organizations such as Loving the Bronx, Bronx Connect, in combination with organizations that use hip-hop culture for educational purposes, such as Hip Hop Works, we produce storytelling events and gatherings from young Bronxites. The first event was Rimas y Realidades, a 3-hour bilingual session that brought together 30 local high school students. The event aim was to create a space in which youth can express their thoughts about the Cross Bronx Expressway and to give them a platform to local teenagers that could connect with hip-hop activists, MCs, and sharing the universal language of hip-hop, their hopes and concerns for their own community. To kick off the session, we aim to fully immerse participants in the vibrant culture of hip-hop, creating a collaborative style graffiti mural featuring a simple prompt, Los Sonidos del Bronx, Sounds of the Bronx. People of all ages eager contributed, including the staff of Bronx Connect, engaging in conversations about growing up in the Bronx during different times as more people added their contributions. And at the end of the activity, and without even starting the conversation about the Cross Bronx and hip-hop culture or any other topic, the mural revealed some interesting themes. There were many contributions expressing frustration for incoming traffic and poor air quality in the community, references to trucks, car honking, smoke, and even a drawing of the above-ground subway and its respective sound waves. Participants wrote phrases in Spanish, such as people speaking español and una señora vendiendo taquitos. They referenced their countries, Mexico, Ecuador, reflecting an awareness of Latin and Hispanic culture's influences in the Bronx. Some fascinating contributions made reference to the importance of music as the Bronx everyday soundtrack. And lastly, it's important to point out that the young attendees acknowledge the Bronx diversity and they have growing interest for social justice. As we trace the roots of hip-hop, evidencing how this cultural movement is inseparable from the story of the Cross Bronx Expressway, it was fascinating to observe the audience's reaction as we unveiled these connections together. We invited rapper Danger A.K. Martinez, who believes in the power of hip-hop as a social transformative tool. The attendees wrote their own raps, and many wrote beyond the scope of writing one bar, with one young boy even filling out a whole page. And although everyone seemed jovial and excited about this event, the content of the bar revealed major frustration among the older participants. Uriel, a Hispanic young adult, wrote in his bar, "Llevo un año aquí, y no sabía que mi sobrina sufre asma a causa de una autopista. Construida por un mercenario, eso me hace pensar que esta ciudad no es distinta a mi barrio." Orlinda, one of the few female attendees, whom, by the way, showed a special interest in environmental justice. People try to complain about the bad air and how dirty the community is, but they are not trying to do anything about it. These lyrics conveyed a sense of frustration and helplessness, dealing with the status quo, as well as the desire for more community engagement and proactive solutions. We finalized the session by handing out diplomas and inviting attendees to keep creating and keep sharing their stories. The depth of the content created throughout the event revealed many pressing issues faced at the residents of the Bronx, highlighting feelings of neglect. However, this event also demonstrated that justice-based art activities and rap can empower young participants to amplify their voices and speak up their lived realities in the Bronx, acknowledging the importance of intergenerational engagement in projects that could shift the future of the Bronx. Through Rimas y Realidades, we found out that bilingual sessions simultaneously were maybe unproductive, so we will hold multiple sessions this summer, each in one language. To this end, Bronx Connect suggested that summer assemblies could be a good start in Crotona High School, which holds many Hispanic students. Hip-hop is a multi-pillar culture, so NeighBRONXhood aims to diversify, maybe moving to breakdancing and using our bodies as storytelling, and graffiti, a dynamic adventure for social commentary. We also hope to collaborate with artists whose work foster natural connection with attendees, creating a sense of immediate and profound resonance. So this is NeighBRONXhood. The only thing that's louder than 1,000 cars passing by is the sound of Bronxite voices combined. Thank you.